The silence is what breaks her, not the moans, not the breathless gasps echoing through marble hallways she once thought belonged to her, not even the sight of her husband tangled with another woman on sheets she ironed that morning. It's the silence after. Zolani Ashcroft stands barefoot in the doorway of her own bedroom, heels dangling from numb fingers, charity gala dress wrinkled against her exhausted body. The penthouse smells like expensive cologne and betrayal. Her heart pounds so loud she thinks it might crack her ribs. Kang Tae-moo doesn't scramble, doesn't curse or shove the woman away or reach for explanations that might soften the knife twisting in Zolani's chest. He looks at her the way someone looks at a stain on expensive furniture, mildly annoyed it exists at all. The secretary giggles, actually giggles. Welcome to Merry Romance Stories. Dive into tales where Afro depth meets Korean emotion. Love, struggle, betrayal, and hope unfold in every story. These narratives aren't just to entertain. They make you feel, reflect, and grow. Join us, experience powerful emotions, and discover life lessons that cross cultures and touch the heart. You're home early, Tae-moo says. His voice is flat, bored. Zolani's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Her brain screams, run, scream, throw something, but her body just stands there like roots grew through her feet into this penthouse that never really wanted her anyway. How long? The words scrape out of her throat like glass. Tae-moo sits up slowly, sheets pooling around his waist. He tilts his head like he's considering whether she deserves an answer. The secretary, Minji, the woman who brings him coffee every morning, who smiles too wide when Zolani visits the office, slides off the bed and starts gathering clothes without shame. Does it matter? Tae-moo finally says. Does it matter? Zolani repeats. Her voice cracks. Does it? You're my husband. And you're replaceable. The word lands like a slap. Zolani actually stumbles backward, shoulder hitting the doorframe. She watches Tae-moo stand, naked and unbothered, reaching for the silk robe she bought him for their anniversary. The anniversary he forgot. I gave you everything, Zolani whispers. You gave me nothing. Tae-moo ties the robe with sharp, precise movements. No heir, no son, no value to my family's legacy. You think love is enough? You think being pretty and obedient makes you irreplaceable? Minji slips past Zolani without making eye contact, her perfume choking the air. The door clicks shut behind her. Now it's just husband and wife in a bedroom that feels colder than a morgue. I can't have children, Zolani says, hating how small her voice sounds. The doctor said it's not. I know what the doctor said. Tae-moo moves to the bar cart, pours whiskey like this is a business meeting. I've known for months. I just didn't care enough to tell you I was done trying. Months? Did you really think I'd waste my prime years on a broken wife? Broken. The word echoes. Zolani's hands shake so violently her heels clatter to the floor. She wants to scream that she's not broken, that the fertility issues could be his, that marriage is supposed to mean something beyond bloodlines and family trees. But the look in Tae-moo's eyes tells her he's already gone. Maybe he was never really here. I want a divorce, he says, swirling whiskey. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow. Don't make this difficult. Difficult? Zolani's voice rises. You're throwing me away like garbage and you want me to make it easy? You'll get nothing. Tae-moo drinks, watching her over the rim of his glass. No settlement, no property, no dignity. I'll make sure everyone knows you're defective. That you trapped me with lies about children you couldn't give. That you're the reason this marriage failed. That's not true. Truth is whatever I say it is. He sets the glass down with a sharp click. I have power, Zolani. You have nothing. My family has connections that reach every corner of Seoul, every business, every reputation. Who do you think they'll believe? Zolani feels her knees weaken. She grips the doorframe to stay upright. Tae-moo. Please, don't beg. It's pathetic. Something inside her shatters. Not her heart, that broke the moment she walked through the door. This is deeper. The part of her that believed good wives get good husbands, that love grows from patience and sacrifice, that endurance makes you stronger instead of smaller. I loved you, she whispers. Then you're stupider than I thought. Taemu walks past her, shoulder brushing hers without tenderness, and disappears into the hallway. She hears his office door close. Lock. The penthouse settles into silence again. Zolani slides down the doorframe until she's sitting on cold marble, dress pooling around her like a collapsed parachute. She doesn't cry. Can't cry. The tears are stuck somewhere behind the shock, behind the humiliation, behind the growing realization that she'd just lost everything. Her phone buzzes. She pulls it from her clutch with trembling hands. A text from Hana, her best friend. The only person in Korea who understood what it meant to be foreign, displaced, trying to build a life in a country that barely tolerates you. Hana. How was the gala? Come over tomorrow. I made your favorite. Zolani stares at the message. Normal? Kind. Like the world didn't just collapse. She types back with numb fingers. Zolani. Can I come now? 3 dots appear immediately. Hana. Always. Doors open. Zolani forces herself to stand. She doesn't pack. Doesn't look back at the bedroom. Just grabs her purse and walks out of the penthouse in her ruined dress and bare feet, leaving behind 3 years of marriage like they never happened at all. The elevator ride down feels like descending into hell. By morning, Taemu's lawyer sends the divorce papers. By afternoon, his family's PR team releases a statement about irreconcilable differences that somehow paints Zolani as the villain. By evening, her phone explodes with messages from acquaintances who aren't really friends, asking if it's true she can't have children, if she trapped Taemu, if she's really as cold and difficult as the rumors say. She blocks them all. Hana holds her while she finally cries, 3 days of tears pouring out in ugly, choking sobs that make her chest ache. He's destroying me, Zolani gasps between breaths. He's telling everyone I'm broken. You're not broken, Hana murmurs, stroking her hair. You're human. He's the monster. I have nothing, Hana. No money, no job, no home. He made sure I signed a prenup that gives me nothing if we divorce before 5 years. You have me. Hana tilts Zolani's face up, forcing eye contact. You hear me? You have me. We'll figure this out. But figuring it out means night shifts at convenience stores, security jobs at warehouses where men twice her size treat her like entertainment, sleeping on Hana's couch because she can't afford rent, eating instant noodles until her stomach cramps. 3 months into the divorce, Zolani loses 15 pounds she didn't have to lose. Her clothes hang off her frame. Dark circles bruise under her eyes. She takes every shift offered, works until her feet bleed, comes home too tired to think about how far she's fallen. Hana watches with worried eyes but never judges, never pushes. Just leaves food in the fridge and reminds Zolani she's stronger than Taemu ever gave her credit for. One night, after a particularly brutal shift, Zolani collapses on Hana's couch and just stares at the ceiling. I don't know how much more I can take, she whispers. Hana sits beside her, phone in hand. Then don't take it alone tonight. What? Come out with me. Hana's voice is gentle, coaxing. Just for a few hours, dancing, drinks, no thinking, no pain, just existing somewhere that isn't this couch. Zolani closes her eyes. I can't. You can. You need to. Please, Zoe, just tonight. The nickname, the one only Hana uses, cracks something in Zolani's resolve. She opens her eyes. Where? That club in Gangnam, the one with the rooftop. You don't have to drink. You don't have to dance. Just be around people who don't know your name. Zolani thinks about saying no, about staying buried in exhaustion and shame. But then she thinks about Taemu's face when he calls her replaceable, and something sharp and reckless rises in her chest. Okay. Hana's smile is brilliant. Good. Get dressed. We leave in an hour. Zolani borrows one of Hana's dresses, Black, simple, nothing like the designer gowns she used to wear. She puts on makeup to hide the exhaustion, straightens her spine, tells herself she's just going to exist for a few hours in a space where Kang Tae-moo doesn't control the narrative. The club is loud and dark and crowded, bass pounding through her bones. Hana disappears into the crowd almost immediately, pulled away by friends Zolani doesn't recognize. She finds herself alone at the bar, nursing a drink she doesn't really want, watching strangers dance like their lives don't hurt. First time here? The voice comes from her left. Zolani turns. A man sits 2 stools away, drink in hand, eyes dark and unreadable. He's handsome in a way that feels dangerous. Sharp jaw, broad shoulders. Presence that commands attention without demanding it. He's watching her like he sees past the makeup, past the borrowed dress, straight into the exhaustion she's trying to hide. Is it that obvious? Zolani asks. His mouth curves, not quite a smile. You look like someone who'd rather be anywhere else. Then why are you talking to me? Because you look like you need someone who won't ask questions. Zolani's breath catches. She should walk away, should find Hana, should go home and sleep and wake up to another shift that breaks her body. But something about this stranger, his stillness, his lack of pity, makes her want to stay. What if I want to answer questions? She hears herself say. Then I'll listen. And somehow, impossibly, she talks about betrayal without naming Tae-moo, about feeling replaceable without explaining the context, about losing herself in a marriage that only ever wanted her womb. The stranger listens without interrupting, without offering solutions, without making her feel smaller for breaking. Hours pass, the club empties. Hana texts that she left with friends, assuming Zolani went home. The stranger offers to walk Zolani to her cab. She says yes, but the cab never comes. And when he asks if she wants to go somewhere quiet, somewhere she can forget for just one night that her life is in ruins, Zolani looks into his dark, steady eyes and makes a choice she'll carry forever. She says yes again. Zolani wakes to sunlight slicing through unfamiliar blinds. Her head pounds. Her dress is on the floor. The sheets smell like cologne she doesn't recognize and decisions she can't take back. She sits up too fast, nausea rolling through her stomach. The room spins, expensive furniture, minimalist art, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline. This isn't Hana's apartment. Panic claws up her throat. The bathroom door is closed. She hears water running. Shower, which means he's still here. The stranger whose name she never asked, whose face she barely remembers through the haze of whiskey and grief. Zolani scrambles out of bed, legs shaking, grabbing her dress and shoes. Her hands fumble with the zipper. She can't be here when he comes out. Can't face the morning after conversation, the awkward exchange of numbers she'll never call, the confirmation that she's exactly as broken as Tae-moo said she was. Good wives don't sleep with strangers in clubs. Good wives don't make reckless choices. Good wives. She's not a wife anymore. The thought stops her halfway to the door. Zolani looks back at the bed, sheets tangled, evidence of a night she chose for herself. Not for Tae-moo, not for family expectations, not for anyone's approval, just hers. The shower stops. Zolani runs. She doesn't wait for the elevator, takes the stairs in bare feet, heels clutched to her chest. 23 floors down, lungs burning, tears streaming down her face for reasons she can't name. By the time she hits the lobby, the doorman barely glances at her. Seoul's morning traffic swallows her whole. Hana finds her on the couch 3 hours later, still in the wrinkled dress, staring at nothing. Where did you go last night? Hana asks, setting down coffee. Home, Zolani lies. The cab came late. Hana's eyes narrow, but she doesn't push. You okay? No. At least that's honest. Want to talk about it? No. Hana sits beside her, shoulders touching. They stay like that until the coffee goes cold. The weeks that follow blur together. Warehouse shifts, security patrols, jobs that pay cash under the table because Temu's lawyers froze her accounts while the divorce processes. Zolani stops sleeping, stops eating properly, starts forgetting what it felt like to be anything other than exhausted. She doesn't think about the stranger, refuses to think about him, until one night at the pier. The security company assigns her to an abandoned shipping yard on Seoul's outskirts. Midnight to 6 a.m. Solo patrol. The pay is double because the area is dangerous, but Zolani stopped caring about danger the day Taimu called her replaceable. She walks between rusted containers, flashlight cutting through darkness. The Han River stinks nearby. Wind carries the smell of diesel and rotting fish. Her radio crackles static. Then, gunfire, sharp, close, echoing off metal. Zolani drops, flashlight clattering, heart exploding in her chest. More shots, shouting in Korean, running footsteps. She scrambles behind a container, presses her back against cold steel, and tries to remember how to breathe. A body slams into the container beside her. Zolani bites back a scream. A man slides down to the ground, clutching his side. Blood seeps between his fingers, dark and wet in the moonlight. He's dressed in all black. Tactical gear, expensive boots, face shadowed but familiar in a way that makes her stomach drop. Their eyes meet. Recognition flashes. The stranger from the club. "You," he gasps. Zolani's brain short-circuits. "You're bleeding." Quiet. His voice is sharp, commanding. Nothing like the gentle stranger who listened to her cry in that club. This version is harder, dangerous. "They're coming back." "Who? Do you want to live or ask questions?" Footsteps pound closer, voices shouting coordinates. Zolani hears safety clicks, weapons being checked. Her survival instinct kicks in before logic catches up. She rips off her security jacket, presses it against his wound. He hisses through his teeth but doesn't pull away. "Stay quiet," she whispers. "Don't move." 3 men round the container, flashlights sweeping. Zolani stands, steps into their light, hands raised. "Help!" Her voice shakes, not fake, real terror. "Someone's shooting, I heard gunshots." The lead man steps closer, gun half raised. He's older, scar across his jaw, eyes that have seen too much. "You alone?" "Yes, security patrol. I don't know what's happening." "See anyone?" Zolani points the opposite direction toward the river. "Someone ran that way. Dark clothes. Fast." The man studies her. Zolani forces her hands to keep shaking, forces tears into her eyes, and plays the scared woman they expect. He buys it. "Search the river," he barks at his men. They leave. Zolani's knees buckle the moment they're gone. She collapses beside the stranger, hands slick with his blood. "You lied for me," he says quietly. "You're bleeding because of me?" She checks the wound. A bullet grazed his ribs, deep but not fatal. "Who are you?" "Someone you should have stayed away from." Little late for that. His mouth curves despite the pain. "You remember that night." Hard to forget. He tries to sit up straighter, winces. Zolani helps without thinking, her hand steadying his shoulders. He's heavier than he looks, all muscle and controlled violence. "What's your name?" she asks. "Does it matter?" "You know mine." "No, I don't. You never said it." Zolani realizes he's right. That whole night, drunk on grief and reckless freedom. She never told him her name, never asked his. 2 strangers colliding in darkness. "Zolani," she says now. He watches her for a long moment. Jang Dae-hyun. The name means nothing to her, should it? "What are you doing here?" "Jang Dae-hyun." "Business." "The kind that gets you shot?" "The kind you don't ask about." Sirens wail in the distance. Dae-hyun tenses, tries to stand. Zolani catches him before he falls. "You need a hospital." "No hospitals." His grip on her arm is bruising, desperate. "They'll find me." "Then where?" "Do you trust me?" Zolani should say no, should call an ambulance, should walk away from this stranger who's bleeding all over her, who's clearly involved in something violent and illegal, who she slept with in a moment of weakness she's been trying to forget. But his eyes, the same eyes that listened without judgment in that club, hold hers. "I don't know," she whispers. "Fair." He grits his teeth. "But I'm asking anyway. Help me get somewhere safe. Please." The please does it. Zolani helps him to his feet, lets him lean his weight against her. They move through shadows, away from sirens, toward the employee parking lot where her borrowed motorcycle sits. Hana's motorcycle, technically, loaned when Zolani couldn't afford cab fare anymore. "Can you hold on?" she asks. "I've survived worse." She doesn't doubt it. They ride through Seoul's pre-dawn streets, Dae-hyun's blood soaking through her shirt, his arms locked around her waist. He directs her to a building in Gangnam, expensive, high security, the kind of place Zolani used to live before Taemu threw her away. The penthouse is cold, sterile. Zolani helps Dae-hyun to a leather couch, finds a first aid kit in his bathroom that looks military grade. "You've done this before," she says, cleaning the wound. "More times than I should." "What do you do?" "Import-export." That's a lie. His smile is tired. "Yes." Zolani stitches him up with hands that only shake a little. She learned basic medical training for her security job, never thought she'd use it on someone she slept with. The irony isn't lost on her. When she finishes, Dae-hyun catches her wrist. "Why did you help me?" he asks. "Why did you listen to me that night?" "Because you looked like you needed someone who wouldn't judge." "Same reason." They stare at each other. Dawn light creeps through windows, painting everything gold. Zolani should leave. Should go back to Hana's couch and pretend this never happened. Should forget the stranger who's clearly dangerous, clearly involved in things that get people killed. "Stay," Dae-hyun says quietly. "Why?" "Because I think we saved each other twice now. That means something. Or it means we're both terrible at making good decisions." Probably that too. Despite everything, the blood, the fear, the insanity of this entire night, Zolani laughs. It sounds broken, foreign, like she forgot how. She stays. Over the next few days, Dae-hyun's wound heals. Zolani keeps coming back, telling herself it's just to check his stitches, just to make sure he's okay. But really, it's because his penthouse is quiet. Because he doesn't ask about her failed marriage or her night shifts or why she's living on borrowed furniture and borrowed clothes. He just exists beside her. They talk, not about anything important. Movies, music, books. The way Seoul smells is different in rain. How American coffee tastes better than Korean coffee, but Zolani would never admit that out loud. One evening, she stands to leave and her vision swims. Dae-hyun catches her. "When did you last eat?" "This morning." Lie. Try again. "Yesterday?" Also probably a lie. He orders food, Thai, expensive. The kind she used to eat without thinking before Taemu made her count every one. They eat on his balcony, city lights spreading below like dropped stars. "Can I ask you something?" Dae-hyun says. "Depends." "That night at the club, you were running from something." Not a question. Statement. Zolani sets down her chopsticks. "My husband. Ex-husband. He destroyed my life because I couldn't give him children. Told everyone I was broken. Worthless. Made sure I walked away with nothing. His name. Why? Curiosity. The way he says it makes Zolani's skin prickle. Like curiosity means something different in his world, something dangerous. "It doesn't matter," she says quickly. "He's in the past." Is he? No. Taemu lives in every shift she works, every bill she can't pay, every mirror that shows her how small she became. But admitting that feels like losing. "I'm trying to make him the past," she whispers. Dae-hyun reaches across the table, takes her hand. His palm is warm, scarred. "You're stronger than you think, Zolani." "How would you know?" Because weak people don't lie to armed men to save strangers. Her throat tightens. Maybe I'm just stupid. Or brave. She wants to believe him. Weeks pass. Zolani keeps working her shifts, but spends her free time at Daehyun's penthouse. He offers her money. She refuses. He offers her a job instead. Doing what? She asks suspiciously. Whatever you want. I need someone I trust. You barely know me. I know you're loyal, smart, fearless when it counts. His eyes hold hers. I know you kept me alive when you could have let me bleed out. That's enough. The job pays more than every security shift combined. The work is vague, scheduling meetings, managing files, handling correspondence that probably isn't legal. Zolani doesn't ask too many questions. She's not naive. She knows Daehyun is involved in something dark, something violent. But he treats her with respect Taemu never gave her. Listens when she speaks, values her opinions. It feels like dignity. She takes the job. 3 months later, during a late dinner meeting, Zolani excuses herself and vomits in Daehyun's bathroom. She returns pale, shaking. He knows immediately. When? It's not, Zolani. His voice is careful. When? She counts backward, counts again. Her hands start trembling. That night, the club, it has to be. I haven't been with anyone else. The room tilts. Daehyun catches her before she collapses and guides her to the couch. He kneels in front of her, hands on her knees. Are you sure? He asks. I'm late, months late. I thought it was stress, but tears spill over. I can't be pregnant. The doctor said I couldn't. Taemu said I was broken. Stop. Daehyun's voice is sharp. Breathe. Look at me. Zolani meets his eyes through tears. You're not broken, he says firmly. Whatever that bastard told you was a lie. You hear me? A lie. But the doctors were wrong. Or he was. Or maybe you just needed someone who wasn't him. Daehyun's jaw tightens. Are you keeping it? The question hangs between them. Zolani's hand drifts to her stomach. Flat still. Empty still. Except it's not empty. There's a life growing inside her. Proof she was never defective, never worthless, never the problem in her marriage. Yes, she whispers. Daehyun's eyes close briefly. When they open, something has shifted in them. Resolve. Then I'm keeping you, he says. Both of you. No arguments. Daehyun. I mean it, Zolani. You think I'm letting you raise my child while working night shifts and sleeping on couches? You think I'm that kind of man? I don't know what kind of man you are. Then let me show you. And somehow, impossibly, he does. But 6 months later, when Zolani's water breaks 3 weeks early and she's rushed to the hospital screaming, Daehyun pacing outside like a caged animal, neither of them knows that this is just the beginning of a story that will cost them everything. Will Zolani survive childbirth? Will Daehyun's dangerous world destroy them before they even begin? Drop a comment with your theories and smash that subscribe button, because what happened next is where everything you think you know gets flipped upside down. The twins arrive screaming. Daejin first, loud, furious, fists already clenched like he's ready to fight the world. Then Hyora, quieter but watchful, eyes too alert for a newborn. The nurse places them on Zolani's chest and something inside her clicks into place. Not healing, not forgetting, just existing in a way that feels less broken. Daehyun stands frozen by the bed, staring at his children like he's witnessing a miracle he doesn't deserve. They're perfect, Zolani whispers, exhausted. They look like you, he says. They look like you. The nurse clears her throat. Names for the birth certificates? Zolani looks at Daehyun. They decided weeks ago, but saying it out loud makes it real. Makes this strange relationship, built on one reckless night and a bullet wound, into something permanent. Jang Daejin, Daehyun says firmly. Jang Hyora. His name, his claim, his protection. Zolani's throat tightens, but she nods. The nurse writes it down, oblivious to the weight of what just happened. When she leaves, Dae-hyun sits carefully on the bed's edge. "I'm going to marry you," he says quietly. "You don't have to. Not because I have to. Because I want to." His fingers brush Hyora's tiny hand. "Because these two deserve parents who chose each other. Because you deserve someone who won't call you replaceable." Zolani's tears fall onto Daejin's head. "I don't love you. I know. I might never love you the way I don't care." Daehyun's eyes meet hers. "Love isn't what kept you alive last year. Respect did. Trust did. I can build a life on that. Can you?" She thinks about Taemu, about marriage built on expectations and lies, and eventually cruelty. Then she looks at Dae-hyun, this dangerous man who listened when she broke, who offered dignity when she had nothing, who's claiming children he could have walked away from. "Yes," she whispers. They marry 3 weeks later in a courthouse. No guests, no flowers, just paperwork and promises that feel more solid than any vow she spoke to Taemu. Life shifts. Dae-hyun moves them into a house outside Seoul. Safe, private, surrounded by security that never asks questions. Zolani learns his business isn't import-export. It's power, control. The kind of empire built in shadows where law enforcement doesn't reach. She should be terrified. Instead, she feels protected. He teaches her the business, not the violence. He keeps that part away from her and the twins. But strategy, finance, how to read people, how to command rooms without raising her voice. Zolani discovers she's good at it, better than good. She stops being Taemu's discarded wife, starts being Jang Dae-hyun's partner. The twins grow. Daejin inherits his father's intensity, watching everything with sharp, calculating eyes. Hyora gets her mother's quiet strength, speaking less but observing more. By age 2, they're inseparable. By 3, they're finishing each other's sentences. Zolani photographs everything. Their first steps, first words. First time Daejin punches another kid for calling Hyora weak. She sends none of the photos to anyone because her old life, Hana, Korea, everything before Dae-hyun, feels like a dream she woke up from. Then Hana calls. 4 years of silence shattered by a phone number Zolani never changed. "Zoe?" Hana's voice cracks through the speaker. "Oh my God, is this still your number?" Zolani freezes in her kitchen, coffee halfway to her mouth. "Hana? I've been trying to find you for years. Where are you? Are you okay? I thought something happened to you." Guilt twists in Zolani's stomach. She disappeared without explanation. Let Hana think she was dead or worse. "I'm fine. She hesitates. "I'm in New York." Lie number 1. "New York?" Hana's shock is audible. How did you? "It's a long story." "Then tell me." "I'm in New York too. For work. We should meet. Please, I miss you so much." Something in Hana's voice, desperate, genuine, cracks Zolani's resolve. She thinks about their friendship, how Hana held her when Taemu destroyed her, how she offered her couch when Zolani had nothing. "Okay," Zolani says. "When?" They meet at a cafe in Manhattan. Zolani flies in on Dae-hyun's private jet, leaves the twins with their nanny, wears designer clothes she bought herself with money she earned. She looks different, feels different. But when she sees Hana waiting at a corner table, something old and familiar pulls at her chest. Hana stands, eyes wide. "Zoe, you look different?" "Incredible." Hana hugs her tight. "What happened to you?" Over coffee, Zolani lies smoothly. New job, good investments, lucky breaks. She doesn't mention Dae-hyun, doesn't mention the twins, just paints a picture of someone who rebuilt herself through hard work and determination. Hana listens with something sharp flickering in her eyes. "That's amazing. I'm so happy for you." But her smile doesn't reach her eyes. "What about you?" Zolani asks. "You said you're here for work?" "I opened a boutique, high-end Korean fashion. It's doing well." Hana stirs her coffee. Actually, I could use help. Someone who understands both cultures. Someone I trust. Hana, I can't. Just part-time. 1-month trial. Please. Hana's hand covers Zolani's. I missed you. I want my best friend back. The words hit exactly where they're supposed to. Zolani agrees. Lie number 2, to Dae-hyun. She tells him it's reconnecting with an old friend. Doesn't mention the job. Doesn't mention how Hana looked at her clothes, her jewelry, her confidence with something that felt less like happiness and more like assessment. The boutique is in Soho. Expensive. Minimalist. Hana introduces Zolani as her assistant to the staff. Young, beautiful Korean women who look at Zolani like she's beneath them. Don't mind them, Hana says sweetly. They're just protective of me. First day, someone spills coffee on Zolani's shirt. Accident, they claim. Second day, a customer complains Zolani was rude when she wasn't even the one serving them. Third day, Hana's sister Mina visits, tall, elegant, cruel-eyed. She looks Zolani up and down like inspecting livestock. This is your assistant? Mina asks in Korean, assuming Zolani doesn't understand. She looks cheap. Zolani's Korean is perfect now. 4 years with Dae-hyun made sure of that. But she stays quiet, watching Hana's reaction. Hana laughs. Mina, be nice. Not a defense, permission. Mina steps closer to Zolani. Did you understand what I said? Zolani meets her eyes. Every word. Mina's hand moves so fast, Zolani barely registers it. The slap echoes through the boutique. Her cheek explodes in pain. Staff freeze. Customers stare. Hana gasps. Mina! But she's smiling. Zolani's vision blurs red. She could end Mina with one phone call to Dae-hyun. Could have this entire boutique shut down by tomorrow. Could make Hana's sister disappear into the same shadows that protect her children. Instead, she touches her burning cheek and says quietly, I quit. Zoe, wait. Hana grabs her arm. Zolani pulls free. You let her hit me. She didn't mean, you laughed. Hana's face shifts, something cold sliding beneath the concern. You're being dramatic. It was just a slap. Don't be so sensitive. Sensitive. Zolani's voice is eerily calm. You let your sister assault me in public and I'm being sensitive? You need this job, don't you? Hana's eyes narrow. You said you were doing well, but you dress like you're trying too hard. You took this position too eagerly. You need the money. Zolani realizes with perfect, horrible clarity that Hana never believed her success story. Never thought she climbed out of the hole Taemu dug. Assumed she was still desperate, still broken, still replaceable. I don't need anything from you, Zolani says softly. She walks out. Hana doesn't follow. Zolani makes it 3 blocks before she has to stop, lean against a building, and just breathe. Her phone buzzes. Messages from Hana. Hana, you're overreacting. Hana, I was trying to help you. Hana, fine, be ungrateful. Zolani blocks the number. She flies back to Seoul that night. Dae-hyun takes one look at the bruise forming on her cheek and his entire body goes rigid. Who? One word. Deadly quiet. It doesn't matter. Zolani. He cups her face carefully. Who touched you? She tells him everything. The boutique, Mina, Hana's laughter, how the friend she trusted most spent 4 years festering in resentment disguised as concern. Dae-hyun's jaw clenches so hard she hears his teeth grind. Give me the name. No. Zolani. I said no. She covers his hand with hers. She's not worth it. I just want to forget she exists. He doesn't argue, but she sees the promise in his eyes. If Hana ever crosses their path again, there will be consequences. Months pass. Zolani throws herself into work, into raising the twins, into building the life Taemu said she'd never have. She doesn't think about Hana until the invitation arrives. Thick cardstock, gold embossing, expensive. Mr. Kang Taemu requests the honor of your presence at his wedding. Zolani stares at it for a full minute before the words make sense. Taimu is getting married. There's a note inside. Handwritten. Zolani, I wanted you to see what a real wife looks like. Someone fertile, someone worthy. Come celebrate what you could never be. Dai Dae-hyun finds her on the balcony. Invitation crumpled in her shaking fist. He sent this to mock me, she whispers. Dae-hyun reads it. His expression goes arctic. You're not going. I am. Zolani, I'm going. She turns to face him. I'm going to walk in there with our children and show him exactly what I became without him. This is a trap. I know. She smiles, but it's all edges. I don't care. Dae-hyun studies her. Then slowly, deliberately, he pulls out his phone and makes a call. Prepare the Rolls-Royce and get me everything on Kang Taemu's wedding venue. Security, guest list, everything. He ends the call, eyes never leaving Zolani's. If we're doing this, he says quietly, we're doing it my way. Understood? Zolani kisses him. First time she's initiated in their entire marriage. Understood. The wedding is 3 weeks away. Zolani spends them preparing. New dress, designer. The kind that costs more than Taemu spent on their entire wedding. She takes the twins shopping, lets them pick their own outfits. Daejin chooses a tiny suit that makes him look like a miniature businessman. Hyora picks a dress with flowers that matches her mother's shoes. Where are we going, Mama? Hyora asks. To show someone they were wrong about us, Zolani says. Wrong how? They thought we were weak. She kneels, meeting her daughter's eyes. Are we weak? No, Hyora says firmly. That's right, baby. We're not. The day arrives. Zolani dresses carefully. Every detail perfect. Hair, makeup, jewelry that Dae-hyun bought her. Real diamonds, not the fake ones Taemu gave her for anniversaries. She looks in the mirror and barely recognizes herself. She looks powerful. The Rolls-Royce is waiting. Dae-hyun wears a suit that probably costs more than most people's cars. The twins bounce in their seats, excited for an adventure they don't understand. Last chance to change your mind, Dae-hyun says. Drive, Zolani tells him. The venue is a cathedral in Gangnam. Taemu always wanted extravagant, always needed to prove he could afford beauty even if he couldn't appreciate it. They arrive late, intentionally. The ceremony has started. Zolani steps out of the Rolls-Royce and every head turns. Whispers ripple through guests like wind through wheat. She helps Daejin out, then Hyora. The twins stand on either side of her, small hands gripping hers. Someone gasps, someone else whispers. Is that? Zolani walks through the cathedral doors. Taemu stands at the altar, frozen mid-vow. The officiant stutters to a stop. The bride, still facing away, goes rigid. Zolani finds a seat in the back, sits, crosses her legs, waits. Taemu's eyes never leave her. The ceremony continues, but it's a corpse pretending to breathe. Everyone watches Zolani instead of the bride. Watches the twins who look nothing like Taemu but radiate the same controlled power as the dangerous man who walked in behind them. When the officiant says, "You may kiss the bride," Taemu hesitates. Then the bride turns around. Hana. Zolani's world tilts. Hana is marrying Taemu. Their eyes meet across the cathedral. Hana's smile is pure venom wrapped in white lace. And that's when Zolani understands. Everything. Every single thing. How did Taemu's secretary know exactly when Zolani would come home early that night? Who convinced Zolani to go to that club the same night her marriage ended? Who kept her desperate and dependent for months while feeding information back to Taemu? Hana orchestrated everything. The reception blurs. Zolani moves through it on autopilot, smiling politely, deflecting questions about the twins, about her obvious wealth, about where she's been. Dae-hyun stays close, a silent threat that keeps the more aggressive guests at bay. Taemu corners her by the champagne fountain. Whose children are those? He demands. Zolani sips her drink. Mine. Don't play games. Are they mine? Why would they be yours? You're infertile, remember? She lets the lie hang, watches his face drain of color. Oh, did Hana not tell you? All those doctor's visits you sent me to? Turns out you were the problem all along. That's not, enjoy your wedding, Tayamu. I hope she gives you everything I couldn't. She walks away before he can respond, but she knows he won't let this go. Sure enough, before the cake is cut, Hana appears beside her in the women's bathroom. You look good, Hana says, reapplying lipstick in the mirror. So do you. Congratulations. Don't. Hana's voice drops the sweetness. Don't pretend you're happy for me. I'm not pretending anything. Hana turns, smile sharp enough to cut. I won. You realize that, right? I got everything you had. Your husband, your status, your life. You're welcome to it. Those children, Hana's eyes narrow. Are they his? What does it matter? Because if they are, I'll make sure Taemu takes them from you. Parental rights. Custody battles. I'll destroy you the same way I did 4 years ago. Zolani's blood runs cold. What did you say? You really thought it was a coincidence? The secretary's timing, the divorce terms, the way everyone turned on you? Hana laughs. I orchestrated all of it, Zoe. I planted Minji. I fed Taemu's paranoia about your fertility. I made sure you signed that prenup. I told him exactly how to break you. Why? Because you had everything I wanted. Hana's composure cracks. Perfect marriage, perfect husband, money, status, and you didn't even appreciate it. You walked around like you deserved it, like you belonged. But you're not Korean. You're not one of us. You were always just a pretty foreigner who got lucky. So you destroyed my life out of jealousy? I took what should have been mine from the beginning. Hana steps closer. And now I have it. Taemu. The life. The respect. Everything. Zolani looks at her former best friend and feels nothing. Not anger, not betrayal, just exhaustion. Then you really did win, she says quietly. Because I wouldn't trade places with you for anything. She leaves Hana standing there. But outside the cathedral, Taemu is waiting with papers in his hand. DNA test, he says. Now, or I'll file for emergency custody tonight. Dae-hyun appears from the shadows. She doesn't owe you anything. Taemu pales when he recognizes Dae-hyun. Everyone in Seoul's underworld knows Jang Dae-hyun, knows what crossing him costs. Those children might be mine, Taemu says, voice shaking slightly. Then test them, Zolani says tiredly. I don't care anymore. The test is done. Results come back within hours because Taemu pays for priority. Not his. 0 paternal match. Taemu stares at the paper like it's a death sentence. This is impossible. You never, after me, you never. You don't know anything about my life after you, Zolani says. You never did. Taemu's hand rises. Whether to grab her or hit her, she'll never know. Dae-hyun catches his wrist mid-air. Touch her, Dae-hyun says softly, and I'll remove your hand. Taemu stumbles backward, looks at Zolani, at Dae-hyun, at the twins watching from the car. Who are you? He whispers. Someone who knows her worth, Dae-hyun says. Something you never figured out. They drive away. Zolani doesn't look back. But that night, lying in bed while Dae-hyun holds her and the twins sleep in the next room, her phone buzzes. Unknown number. Unknown. This isn't over. You humiliated me. You'll pay. Zolani deletes it. Goes to sleep. 3 days later, she's walking to her car after a business meeting when someone calls her name. She turns. Hana stands in the rain, mascara running, wedding ring gone. He left me. Hana sobs. Taemu left me. He said if I couldn't give him children like you did, I was useless. He said I was just a replacement, that I'd never. Hana, this is your fault. Hana's voice rises to a scream. You ruined everything. You were supposed to stay broken. You were supposed to... She pulls a knife from her purse. Zolani barely has time to raise her hands before Hana lunges. The blade sinks into her shoulder. Pain explodes, white hot. Zolani falls. A gunshot cracks through the rain. Hana crumples. Zolani's vision blurs. She sees Dae-hyun running toward her, phone to his ear, shouting for ambulances. Sees blood, hers, Hana's, mixing in puddles on wet pavement. Sees her children's faces in her mind and thinks, please, not yet. I'm not done. Sirens scream closer. The world goes dark. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Like to support meaningful storytelling. Comment your thoughts. Your voice matters here. Share with someone who needs hope after betrayal. And subscribe for powerful Afro-Korean stories that heal, inspire, and remind us. Dignity always wins.